comms up. Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms podcast with Timmy VO.
So I guess we're going to talk about the coaching carousel, and just your thoughts on just the roster as you see it right now, and what we can add to it going forward. And I mean, I'm not going to get to the draft and all that other stuff, but just
it's hard to get too far into the draft without knowing what we're going to be doing with the coach.
Exactly.
I mean. Look, when we were talking about it last week,
mm-hmm.
I think you and me were both kind of Team Wilkes and everything, and I felt you could see a pattern in all the offensive coordinators and everything that we were interviewing for the head coaching position, and
mm-hmm.
Kind of felt like we were moving in that direction. But I read something today that said, we already have a really good defensive candidate in Wilkes in-house.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, I mean, if we were going to go that direction, I guess we would stick with Steve Wilkes, But I don't know. It seems like we got the offensive coordinator out of Philly, but, it kind of feels like maybe he might have been a product of Hurts playing so well, He didn't scheme it up.
I mean, but where did that come from, right?
He may have coached him up good. I don't know. I mean, if we go the offensive way, then I guess I would see us going quarterback in the draft probably.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't know. I don't know that I would want to trade a bunch of picks to move up to get a Bryce Young or to get a CJ Stroud. Even though I'm Bryce Young looks magical. He's small.
He does.
I don't want to harp on that. Stroud looked really good, man, and he looks like he could have all the tools. Yeah. But man, I feel like we could stand. We could sit at 9, and we might be able to get Richardson out of Florida. And I mean, that kid looks like he could. If he could put it all together, he could really be something. But that's kind of a boom or bust thing. Same thing with Will Levis, But you got to think if we bring in an offensive coach, we're probably going quarterback in the fray. He's going to want to have. His own guy to bring in, kind of like Bear did with Cam, I guess, but
yeah, that's true.
But what say you on the direction of the draft? I mean, I wouldn't be mad if we didn't get a quarterback. Obviously, there are other holes that need to be plugged.
Yeah, I mean, we got some Swiss cheese, man, and that's the funny thing about the season. As the injuries start to pile up, then your needs kind of start to fluctuate. So to be honest with you, man, I don't think we have to reach for a quarterback. I'm not quite sure why anybody would pull the trigger on AR in the top 10, meaning Richardson. I'm not quite sure why they would do it since he is a project. Like you said, he has the tools. His tangibles are stupid. It's the speed of the game and all the other good stuff. I don't see why we should, but like you said, it depends on the coaching. If we bring in an offensive mind, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I think if we bring in an offensive mind and we want to get that guy, we are going to have to trade up, and having an anemic trade value in terms of the team going into the draft with picks and utilizing those picks to build their roster. We've been doing that year after year after year, and it's just we got to stop. We got to build a culture around the coach. Unfortunately, like you said, if it's an offensive-minded coach, we're probably going to start doing things a little differently. But if it's Wilkes, hopefully they'll play it smart. Now, Fitterer is a smart guy.
Well, when we brought in Fitterer, we already had Rule in place, so that it was just so backwards. And then, Rule wanted to have, final say on roster decisions and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, now I feel like we're going to get to see Fitterer really do his thing. I mean, he's brought in some good guys. I mean, but, Bradley Bozeman and Frankie Louvu, he can find it in the rough. So
yeah, Ioannidis was balling. If you look at his actual stats, he was actually doing his thing this year too, man.
Great all year, yeah.
Wow, yeah, he has, man. But man, that coaching carousel. I mean, have we looked at D'Amico yet? Did we bring him in?
I heard that we have requested permission to interview him, but we haven't interviewed him yet. But there are windows that open and close throughout the playoffs. So
that's true.
I also kind of heard something similar about what the Colts were doing, that they were just kind of standing pat for another week or so and letting the coordinators, I guess, seeing what they're going to do in the playoffs, letting them scheme up the game, not disturbing what they got going on at the time. I mean, there are plenty of candidates out there. I guess, most teams can afford to take their time right now, especially, playoffs. As the playoffs move along and everything, we're going to see what these coordinators got. Yeah, I'm still Team Wilkes, man. The players are so on board with it. Former players are so on board with it.
That's what gets me.
I think most of the fans are on board with it. It's so hard. It's so hard to build a culture. It's so hard to build a culture, and it's already there. And people get so enamored with X's and O's with the head coach, when that's not even really that's not their thing. Like, their thing is building culture. Fostering that culture, being a leader of men, a leader of people, which Steve Wilkes says he is, and they're already behind him. I'd hate to rip that away. Like, earlier this year on one of my episodes, I talked about that Raiders team last year with the interim head coach and all the turmoil they went through, still went to the playoffs, and all the players loved him, and they get rid of him, for Josh McDaniels, the, offensive, genius or whatever. Man, look how that's working out, man. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that dude, man. It just doesn't. The quarterback's already thrown by the wayside. I mean, it's so hard to build a culture. We spent 2.5 years watching another coach try to build whatever culture he wanted to, and man, nothing happened. We had no identity. There was
nothing.
Get your comms up. Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms podcast with Timmy VO.